What is up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. I am Nicole with Sonar Sewing Patterns, and Happy New Year. I hope that you guys had a lovely holiday and a nice New Year's Eve and on into 2026. I can hardly believe that we are here. I feel like I'm constantly saying that about the passage of time, and I know that I've mentioned it here and there on the channel before, but I don't know if it just like has something to do with getting older or what, but truly I can't like keep up mentally with how quick the time passes. And it's really just like quite a strange phenomenon when you simultaneously notice it whizzing by, but also can't believe that it's gone. Does that make sense? But either way, we're here now. We are in January of 2026, and it's happening whether we want it to or feel like it is or believe it or not. So let's carry on, I suppose. It is an unseasonably warm day here. It is 70 degrees early January. So I have the windows open. I am doing, hence the windows being open. The world is worlding out there. So I apologize if you hear any extraneous noises, but I am doing what I like to call burping the house. And so after it being closed up all winter, I like to pop the windows open at any chance I get. And unfortunately, I've been able to do that quite a lot this winter, but you know, let's not dwell on that, shall we? Don't get me going down that road. Anyways, I don't know, as always, I don't know what this video will end up being. I just figured I would take you along for my day. I have already shipped my packages, but I do have some orders that came in over New Year break that I need to get cut and sewn. So I figured I'd just keep you around for that. It might be just today. I might include the next couple days. I don't really know. I guess we'll find out together, won't we? If you didn't notice, I finally did this. So I had filmed a couple of vlog style videos. Like I have a lot of content from November and December, and I did not get around to compiling everything and making a vlog video for you guys with 12 days of Christmas. So after 12 days wrapped, I basically went underground and I just checked out of the online world for a little bit. I was still on and like poking around, but I wasn't posting. Obviously, this is the first post that you'll have seen from me since the 12th day of 12 days of Christmas. And so yeah, I started editing all the vlog video and it could work, but I decided to just scrap all of it and start anew. Since we are now in the new year, I didn't really want to go back into early December and do a flashback situation. Some of it was kind of funny because I was showing you like a real life day of what it's like filming for YouTube and what that looks like. And when I was editing some of it last night, it was kind of funny because I think it took me like 8 or 9 takes to do one intro for like day 10. And it was kind of funny, but it's slightly embarrassing. And I don't know if I'm quite ready to put that out yet, but yeah, it's just, it was funny to flashback. Anyways, all that to say, in one of the videos, I talked about my background. And so to catch you up, since I never actually told you guys about it, this wall has been plain for as long as I've lived here. I've always had high hopes of either painting it, putting up wallpaper, doing something, some sort of decor back here so that it was my backdrop. To recalibrate, this is the wall that I have painted black over here. This is where all of my supplies are on my left side. And so that is the wall that's behind me. Normally when I film and you see the black wall, I'm facing this way, where my bookshelf, that is my other backdrop, is on the other wall. So this is a whole new angle, and this has been the intended angle since I moved in, but I didn't want a plain backdrop. And so I finally decided on this cool wallpaper, and I ordered it, oh gosh, back in October probably. And then by the time I went to hang it was the first time that I had read in the instructions that the wall paint needed to not be matte. And all the walls in my house are matte. The builder repainted all of our walls before we moved in, whatever, and they're all matte paint. And so I was going to just hang it on top of the matte paint, but for the amount that I spent on this wallpaper, for only this wall, by the way, I thought I might as well just follow the directions. And so I did that. So I had Brandon dig around in the building and he found some glossy paint for me, to which it was kind of funny. I was trying, I thought it needed to be stirred because it had been sitting for quite some time in the building. And so I thought that I would just roll it around the driveway to stir it, and much to my surprise, the lid came off, and so I spilled white paint all over the driveway. So that was just one of the starts of the wall. Anyways, long story short, I painted the wall and then went to hang the wallpaper again, and it said, if you freshly paint your wall, you must wait 30 days to let the paint fully cure. And I was like, are you kidding me? Another setback in this freaking wallpaper. Because I had started this project with the intention of this being my backdrop for the 12 Days of Christmas series. Clearly that didn't work out. My backdrop was my bookshelf the whole time, but it ended up being fine. Of course, it's been my backdrop since I moved in. But yeah, so this has been a pain in my ass for several months now. So once again, I was not going to follow that advice, and I was planning on hanging the wallpaper anyways. And then life just happened, and I got overwhelmed with everything that was going on. And so hanging the wallpaper, I knew that it was going to be an undertaking, and it was. And so I'm glad that I had that foresight to not delve into that prior to me being fully ready, because it was a lot of work, and I highly commend people who hang peel and stick wallpaper. But yeah, so anyways, I have a new backdrop. I hope you like it. I ordered it from this company, and you can pick the design of it, and then you can put, you basically color it in. So I chose all the colors of the wallpaper, and I just love it. I knew that I wanted something with tigers. I have a thing for tigers. I don't know if you noticed my hand tattoo. Love tigers, are my favorite animal ever. But yeah, so finding tiger wallpaper is kind of hard to find, oddly enough. And so I found this print, and I was able to like really play with all the colors. I did three different options, but I settled on this dark one. I wanted to pull off of the black on the left wall, so the whole background is black. And then it's got like a really dark green, and then a much lighter green, and then like a mauve. And it also has like a purple, like a blurple color in there too. It doesn't really pick up. I don't have any of my overhead lights on right now because it is shiny too. But there is purple back in through here that you can't really pick up on. But I just love it so much. I think it came out great, and I do think it was well worth the wait. So one of my followers sent me a card from her cat for Christmas, and then she also made me this really cute little pouch. So Jan, if you are watching, I did get these and I do appreciate it, but I had opened it with all my other mail and lost the package, so I couldn't, you didn't put your last name on anything, so I didn't know your last name. So I couldn't figure out which Jan in my client list you were, but I wanted to say thank you. It's so cute and I really appreciate it. And your kitty is gorgeous with her blue eyes. Out right now is a bifold wallet with an ID window, and if you are a patron, I will attach that free PDF to the video here. If you're not a patron, then you can join and get the PDF pattern pieces. It's not a written edition, it's just I give you the pattern pieces, and then you cut one out, cut the window out, and then you cut the backing, put the vinyl in, and then this will become our ID window. And yeah, so if you're a Patreon subscriber, look down below and you'll get the free download for this. I've given it before, but just as a reminder, and for all the new patrons that joined with 12 days, this free PDF will be down below. Also, don't forget about these really fun slap bracelets. These are fantastic for holding like cord, vinyl, leather, anything that comes in a roll that likes to come unrolled. I love to use the slap bracelets for, and I sell them on my website. lot of times when I'm making wallets and smaller things, I just cut straight off the roll, and there are little nicks in the cork from where I've previously cut other pieces from, and the blade has overlapped the edge. And I don't snip those off because the cork won't fray or rip. I just cut them, and I will put this at the bottom of my card slot. So this will be a card slot in the bifold that I'm about to make. And I always just mark. So I took my silver marking pen and drew right over where that nick is. And so that way I know that whenever I'm adding this card slot to my card slot panel back, then I know to keep that down. This is the side that I'm going to stitch to create the card slot. And then this top edge is nice and perfectly cut. There are no little nicks in it. So that's how I always alert myself whenever I have little tiny nicks in my cork. Whenever I was cutting out the exterior, there's one small piece right here, one small little nick, and so I went ahead and I marked that. And what I'll do for this, since this is the exterior main panel, what I do is when these two panels are glued together, I will make this area be on the inside, and then it'll be covered by a whole card slot panel. And because the cork doesn't run on its own, then it's going to be totally fine. So if you find that you're constantly having to nip off about 1/8 of an inch to get those little nicks out of the way, as long as they're behind other things, I have found it to be perfectly fine, and you can just continue to use the cork as normal as long as it's not showing or in an area that's going to be high stress. So to label all of my pieces, if it doesn't have a metal tag, which most of my larger items do, then I laser engrave the logo onto every piece that I send out. And I need to do that for the bifold wallet as well. So I figured I would kind of go over it and tell you what I use. Now I used to use a heat press, and it's also known as like a foil stamping machine. And I loved the look of it. I used it without the foil, mostly because I couldn't get the foil to work. I could never figure that out. The imprint was really subtle, and it indented into the cork, so it would leave an impression and you could feel it like with your nails, which I really, really adored, but I could never get super consistent results. The temperature box would go out a lot, and it was more of a headache and a hassle than it wasn't. And so I do still have the machine. It's up in my closet. But I had to find something that I could use that would provide consistent results 100% of the time. And I made the jump and got a Glowforge Aura. I'm a little torn on the Aura. I do like it. I think it's a great entry-level laser. And I'm saying that not ever having experienced or used a larger laser, but just knowing what I know about the people that I know and other makers. This is a very, very entry-level laser. The things that surprised me about it, the smells that came out of it, which, you know, thinking back, that could have been assumed, but that I was a little surprised by that. Depending on what you're cutting, it can really be stinky, and you have to properly vent it or have the external filter. So the smells, and quite honestly, the biggest thing that is annoying about it, and that is not talked about enough, is how slow it is. It's a very, very slow laser in the world of lasers. It also cannot cut through a lot of things because it is a diode laser and not a CO2 laser. And that's like getting into the weeds and the more technical specifics. And even having one in my studio and using it, I only use it for what I use it for, and I'm not well versed in it. I'm not confident enough to speak about it confidently because I don't spend a whole lot of time really investigating what it can be used on. The things that I have made on it are like little signs. So I've made this. Whenever I sew with cactus leather, I put these little wooden signs on them to let people know that it's not cork and it actually is cactus. And so you can use any sort of design space. So I use Affinity Design, then I upload it as a SVG and it cuts it. So I've made wooden signs for my table. What else do I make? Oh, I'll make like the one-off acrylic templates for myself, but I can't do it in clear or blue or any really transparent color. It has to be, is it transparent? See, I don't even know confidently because I don't do that very often. When I cut acrylic for myself, I'm cutting with black because it's the vibe, but also I know for sure that my machine will cut it. So the smells, the length of time that it takes to cut things, and then the capabilities that it has are definite cons of this laser in particular. But if you only need it for very specific things, then I think it works fantastic. That being said, engraving my logo, it takes just under 2 minutes on each piece. And I do that before I assemble my wallets. However, you could easily do it afterward as well. I do like that. Sometimes I do forget to put my logo on things, or if I'm having a crush week and I'm just making hundreds of things, then I have to be cognizant of my time and where I'm spending it. And so a lot of times I don't want to wait to imprint every single piece before I sew it. My neighbor got a motorcycle for Christmas, and here he comes. Anyways, I'm gonna laser engrave this now. Just finished. This is what it looks like. So I find that I get really nice consistent results with the laser. It's not quite the look that I love. I truly love the heat press. If I could figure out the heat press and have it be super duper consistent, I'd probably go back to that. But this does work, and it provides really fantastic results every single time. Now, something that I like to do is if I have any offcuts or any additional extra pieces, I have a stack of them and I keep them in my closet, and then I go through and check if I have any card slots. They're all card slots. Sorry, probably should have mentioned that. But I go through and I see if I have any pre-cut card slots that I can use for my current orders, and a lot of these are already engraved. I just go ahead and spend the time on the front end whenever I cut them, and I just engrave all of them with my logo so that I don't always have to stop and engrave whenever I'm just trying to make a quick wallet. So another order that I have is a Granada bifold wallet. And so I'll just look through here, and so I have 2 Granada pieces, and one of them is already engraved, which is awesome. Let's see, I have a brown bifold. Let's see if I have that. Yeah, so I tend to keep all of my scraps. I have all of my scraps that are big enough to make card slots in one area. I have all of my scraps that are big enough to make snaps, like for like the tall wallet, key fob wallet. I have those in a bin as well. And in this stack, I have like Deimos card slots, and then the rest for just like a regular bifold or bifold with ID. And they're all the same measurement, so it really works out and alleviates a lot of the cutting. So it doesn't look like I have a brown card slot for bifold. I've got the mini Juno, the series here, but no brown bifold, so I need to cut those too. But I did save myself, because I have a bunch of Granada for one of those. Oh, and I have a Granada back piece. Now this would be perfect for probably like a slim bifold or a key fob. I can tell just by the shape of it. But the key fob wallet that I have that's on order is unicorn, but so I'll probably just cut this up into card slot panel backs. But we'll see. I might end up saving it. Okay, so this one is done. This is all ready. That one needs RFID, and the rest need to be cut. So this is the ID window for a key fob wallet. You also can make the slim bifold wallet using the same pattern. I have videos here on the channel. If you are new here, the slim bifold wallet is one of my top selling wallets on my vending table. It's a fantastic front pocket wallet. But if people want a coin pouch and they want a closure and possibly a wristlet strap, then you can turn this into a key fob wallet, which is really interesting and something that I'm noticing. For about 2 or so years, the key fob wallet has not been popular on my table. Well, hold on. So about 3 years ago, I noticed that the key fob wallet was not popular. It was taking a long time for them to sell, whereas they used to be very popular and I couldn't keep them in stock. They were just off the shelves as soon as I put them out. And so because I noticed that on my vending table, I stopped making them, and I haven't had them vending for probably 2 years or so. But now I'm seeing this shift in my online orders where lots of key fob wallets are being purchased again. So I'm noticing that cycle is coming back around to that particular style. So I think I might try it out this year, vending 2026, reincorporating the key fob wallet back on my table and see how it goes. All that to say though, you cut out the ID window and then you get this piece. Now this piece can be used perfectly for a snap tab for the key fob wallet. So I always save that, but you trim off a section here and that little excess is great for the zipper tabs that go on either end of the zipper, or for the D-ring that you use to attach the wristlet strap to the completed wallet. So the more you know. That's why I hold on to everything, because you can always find a use for it. This is a decent representation of how many wallets with ID windows that I've made, and keep in mind over the years that I have been using these as snap tabs for countless wallets as well. But you can see there's a boatload of the inside section of the ID windows, and I never really thought about it being a visual representation of how many ID windows I've cut, but here are some of them. I want to take a second and say thank you so much for following along in the 12 days series. I had so many comments of people, and the support is so nice, and it is very bolstering because, you know, sometimes, well, not sometimes, but like I work alone, so I don't get a whole lot of interaction. And so as much as you guys have a parasocial relationship with me, I too with you, I just don't know your names or get to see you, but you know, you guys are your input is a lot of my interaction, which kind of sounds a little pathetic saying it out loud, but it really is. And so I just wanted to say thank you. A lot of the comments were like, oh, I would wake up every morning and check to see what you had posted. I would watch you as I had my morning coffee, and that just made me feel so warm and fuzzy inside, because I love my morning coffee time. And the idea that you guys were including me in your morning coffee time was just really sweet and endearing for some reason. I really enjoyed that. I feel like every year I have this desire to be more consistent with my posting and to come up with like a schedule of the types of videos that I'll put out and when I'll put them out. And I find that every year I get down on myself because I can't really establish that routine and bring that amount of consistency to my channel. And I feel like for this year, I want to just kind of lean into like not forcing that on myself. It's already something that I've been thinking a lot about the last few weeks. And I think I just need to like get real with myself. I don't think that I am capable of working in that sense. And it's just really a challenge because it goes against the way that YouTube algorithms work. Like YouTube wants consistency, at least one video a week. And what I struggle with is bringing the type of content that I feel adds value versus just bringing content because YouTube wants me to. And the other thing is the type of content that I want to bring requires a lot of mental output. So if you think about it, so let's, on a normal month, there are 4 weeks. So it'd be 4 videos a month. Okay, that sounds easy enough. But then if you break it down to a new pattern each video, it's 4 new patterns a month. So not only does that add up quickly in the cost of patterns alone, because most of us, when we're bringing this content to you, most of us pay for those patterns. I know that I personally don't reach out to the designer and ask for it for free. If they offer it, like I'll reach out and get permission. And if they offer the pattern, then I'll take it if I don't already have it. But most of the patterns that I bring to you guys, I am buying those patterns. So just going back to the math, that's 4 new patterns a month. And then that's 4 new patterns a month. Can you imagine making 4 new patterns a month? In like, some of them are huge bags. There aren't enough patterns that I want to make. You know what I mean? Like that's so much, and that's 48 new patterns a year just to bring content. And it's a machine that never ever has an end. It's a snake eating its tail. And so I really struggle with that side of content creation. I want to stay relevant. I want to be in your feed, but I'm not a machine. You know what I mean? And I think that content creation is its own job in and of itself. And coming from a person that I just want to sew, I want to be creative, and I want to share that process with you. I don't necessarily want to fit into the cog on the wheel. You know what I mean? That's the whole reason that I left the corporate world and the teaching world, was to get off of that rat race, get out of that rat race. And so jumping into YouTube and the requirement of the once a week videos is really taxing for a lot of reasons that probably don't really consider. So all that to say, I appreciate you being here. If you're subscribed, it's really helpful. So if you're not already, that's awesome. If you would, if you want to, you can subscribe, turn on the notifications, all of that type of stuff. But having the support, even with the spontaneity and the inconsistency, is really awesome. And I just really appreciate it. But that's just kind of a peek behind the curtain of content creation. And I know that that's true for a lot of people. I know a lot of these same creators that we follow. I know them personally. I talk to them. And it's hard to consistently bring new content that adds value. And so, yeah, that's like my thought process on all of this. But I want to simultaneously lean into the enjoyment factor of sharing my creative process with you guys and having it be fun versus it being a slog and it becoming, or it staying what it currently is in my mind. If I'm being totally transparent, creating content is very, very, very like mentally taxing for me. And I think it's because I try so hard to fit in with the content creators that are able to consistently put out new stuff. And I think I just need to lean into the fact that I am organized chaos. Anyways, thanks for being here. I also feel like I need to have an asterisk next to that. I'm not complaining about this as my job in the slightest. I quite enjoy it. It's my balance of bringing value without just clogging up the feeds just to stay relevant. And I have a harder time with synthesizing the world at large and just putting out happy stuff, because that's not true to who I am. I am somebody who very, very much feels the emotions of the world, and I feel disingenuous watching the world burn and being like, hey guys, so today we're making this. And I do understand and appreciate and respect the fact that we need a reprieve from the horrors. And so there's a lot of like mental grappling with that for me as well. So I'm not complaining at all. I definitely know that where I'm at today is a lot of people's dreams, and I'm not taking that for granted at all, in the slightest. Here comes a motorcycle, hold on. So yeah, I'm not taking that for granted at all, and I'm really, really appreciative of it, and I just want to be authentic and let you know like kind of my thought process behind all of this, and I'm hoping that you guys understand. It's a delicate balance, right? With like being the lightness that people look to for a reprieve from the world, but also I'm not just Sonar, I'm not just a brand, I'm a human behind all of this, and I too am feeling all of that as well. And even though my career is art, it doesn't mean it's any less hard than like having to get up and get dressed and go into an office every day. It's just hard in a different way. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I might have lost the plot a little bit there. Just 2026 musings, you know what I mean? Just taking you along for the ride. Welcome to the upstairs circus. You know how they do like Spotify Wrapped, and they tell you which videos or which artists you listen to the most on Spotify and how many podcast hours and things like that? Should do like a sewing Wrapped. Like I went through 1.5 entire bottles of Mod Podge and like 8 bottles of glue in my year. That would be kind of funny, huh? I feel like that requires an amount of tracking that I haven't ever thought about doing before, but it is early enough. I could do that now. This is a pretty fresh bottle of Mod Podge, so we'll see if I use it all within a year or if it dries out by then. All right, I have everything prepped and ready to go now and ready to sew. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will check back in with you in a little bit. Wish me luck. Let's see how many side quests I go on. All right, friends, I just want to say thank you for joining me. Yesterday was the first full day that I had back in the studio of like sewing, cutting, processing orders, and I did go on a few side quests, if you must know. It did feel a little bit like pulling teeth to get me to sit down and stay focused, but I did prevail. I got all of my orders finished, and they're all packaged, and they're about to go out to meet the mailman. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, so I appreciate you watching the first video of 2026. kind of referencing what I was talking about before, I don't know what this year will bring. I think I am just going to alleviate myself from the stress of trying to like come up with a super strict schedule. I am going to kind of create a framework and try to work within that as best as possible and continue to bring you guys stuff that I'm interested in. And it might look a little different this year. If you're on Patreon, which if you're not, come join us over there. It's just more of a smaller intentional community, and there's like more behind the scenes and kind of chatter within the group. It's not anything overwhelming or crazy. It's just like a nice small group, and it's fun, if I say so myself. But if you're on Patreon, then you will know that 2025 was the year of bread for me. And late December, I started a sourdough starter on my own, and it worked. And so my very first loaf of bread for 2026 was a sourdough bread, and it's so cute. I'll put a picture in here so that you can see it. I wasn't even sure if I liked sourdough. Like, just the sound of it doesn't sound appealing to me, but I am here to report that it tastes very, very good, and the crust was so nice and crunchy, and the inside was so nice and fluffy, and it was a lot of fun. And so I baked a second loaf, and it did not come out nearly as well. I think I overproofed it. But yeah, so I'm excited to kind of investigate those other new hobbies. And I think, to the best of my ability, I'll bring you along for the ride and kind of, instead of just being solely focused on sewing, kind of show you the other stuff. Jack of all, master of none, right? I feel like that's a great tagline to have in life. And I do like to do all sorts of crafts and things, and so maybe I will integrate some of those onto the channel as well. Another thing that I'm very excited for is I am going to start volunteering with a local organization here in Greenville, South Carolina, and it is a mentorship program for middle and high school girls, and I am just elated. My heart is in teaching. I love those ages, and I'm really excited at the prospect of being able to work, especially with my local community, and help and just kind of be of service to them. And so I'm just really excited for that new avenue, and sometimes you just need to spice things up. And so yes, I'm very excited about that. I will report back. A couple of other things that I want to do this year, or that I have already instituted, is, to the best of my ability, I'm going to take Sundays off. In all the years that I've been self-employed, I have not had a set schedule or set day off the whole time, because my schedule is so amorphous and it changes all the time. But very intentionally going forward in this year, I'm going to take Sundays off unless I have an event that Sunday that I have to work and I'm just way behind on production leading up to that event. Those are the only times I'm going to work on Sundays. So that's exciting. Another thing that I'm going to look at doing for this year is hiring a social media manager, because, like I mentioned before, I just have a hard time synthesizing the world at large and maintaining the facade of a happy business manager. So I think having a degree of separation would probably be good, and it would remove me from being online so often. Another thing that I've done is I have removed Facebook from my phone, and I'm not just casually logging on anymore, and I'm going to try to be really strict about no DMs. It's hard for me because I appreciate the immediate response from people. So when I see people reach out to me, it's really hard for me not to respond, but I'm going to try to take from Shannon at Knotted Threads and have stricter boundaries with my time so that I can take back some of my time. Another thing that I want to do for Sonar is I want to put out 2 patterns this year, and I already have a couple of ideas stewing because I was able to take so much time off after 12 days of Christmas. I've had time to like sit and think, and so I have a couple of ideas that I want to play out. With that said, if you are pining for a specific type of bag or wallet, or you have an idea that you would like to share, toss it out to me. Also, if there's any patterns that you would like to see my take on, there's no guarantee that I'm going to pick up these patterns and make them, but I do like getting other people's perspectives and like, hey, I really love this. Maybe I would like to see your take on it. So I'm always all ears for those types of suggestions. So if you have any, be sure to pop them in the comment box below. And if there's anything that you are going to try to institute for 2026, I would love to know as well, especially coming from like a business perspective, a small business perspective. I feel like it's a hard balance. I honestly don't know how people with children do it, because I feel like a pinball in a tiny room. I'm just like constantly lighting fires throughout the house and having to go back and put them out one at a time whenever I remember. All that to say, I don't know how people with kids get anything done, especially if the kids are young and they're at home with you. I mean, all hail mothers, right? I love you guys for it. But yeah, so be sure to drop any tips, tricks, suggestions, any fun patterns that you have your eye on, any ideas for pattern designs, anything like that. Let's chat. And of course, if you want to join Patreon, a lot smaller of a group there, and it's a lot of fun with our chats and personal stuff, behind the scenes, all that fun stuff. But all right, I will see you guys soon.